Well, as you know, voters across Northwest Ohio heading out to the polls today to vote in a variety of races, from primaries for Congress and governor to school levies. And we've got team coverage tonight. We begin with Steve Iwanek, who is staying on top of the 9th Congressional District race for Republicans. Steve, take it away.
Well, Jeff, it's an interesting group of candidates this year. There are 5 names on the ballot for people to pick from here in the 9th Congressional District. 2 people who have experience in the state level. You have 1 at the national level in politics, and then you have 2 candidates that are coming from the outside of the political sphere. Those 5 names are Derek Merrin, Josh Williams, Aaliyah Nadeem, Madison Sheehan, and Anthony Campbell. So let's begin with Merrin, the former state rep and mayor of Waterville. He was the last Republican challenger to now current Democrat Representative Marcy Kaptur back in 2024. He lost by just less than 1% of the vote. Then you get over to Josh Williams. He's the current state rep in District 44. He's widely considered the strongest challenge to the Merrin campaign, and he's told us that he is focused right now on fixing the welfare system here in the Buckeye State. Then you have Madison Sheehan. She's the former deputy director of ICE under President Donald Trump and is running on a strong immigration policy background. Then you have the 2 new faces. Let's start with Nadeem. She's an Air Force veteran, and then Anthony Campbell, who has a background in healthcare. Nadeem has told us in the past that her concerns when she would get elected were to be addressing the national debt and the drug epidemic, while Campbell told me back in March that he's focused on reforming healthcare nationwide. So it's a lot of unique visions and different backgrounds from these candidates for voters to choose from as they cast their last ballots before 7:30. Jeff?
Steve, I understand you had a chance to talk with a voter while you've been down there at the polling location. Was there any particular issue that they told you was their top concern?
Well, Jeff, it was interesting. So I talked to a gentleman by the name of John LeMay. He's a longtime WTOL viewer, by the way. He has not missed an election in his entire life. He's there whether it's a primary or a presidential election. But when we got to talking about the issues, he really wasn't talking about taxes or data centers or affordability. It actually came back to voting rights.
People need to be able to speak their voice, regardless of where they live, what their color is, what their race is. They have to have that right. And if we don't support that, if we don't stand behind it, they'll lose it forever.
Fair way to describe what today's importance is nationwide in these elections. And as a reminder, if you've not come out to vote yet, you have until 7:30 to get to your local polling place. And if you are in line after 7:30, you still can vote tonight. Here in Rossford, Steve Iwanek, WTOL 11.
As Steve mentioned, Democrat incumbent Marcy Kaptur will take on whatever Republican candidate wins tonight. Megan Hartnett joins us live at a polling location in South Toledo. Megan, polls are closing soon. Are there still voters rolling in there?
Kaylee, there are. It's been pretty steady here, but it really picked up around 5 as people were starting to get off of work. I spoke to a few poll workers, and they say although they'd love to see 100% of voters out here today, they're still happy with how it turned out, especially because of the rainy weather. And if voters here declared a party affiliation, that means they'll be asked who they want to see on their ballot. For the candidate for District 9, Representative Marcy Kaptur has represented this district since 1983 and is hoping to keep her seat. In her time in Congress, she's done a lot of work focused on Toledo, agriculture, and Lake Erie. While incumbents have an advantage, she's also running in a district that is now Republican leaning. It was redrawn in October of 2025. I asked a political science expert about how Representative Kaptur and whoever the Republican candidate is may have to strategize about campaigning. Now that includes more rural areas out west, but the majority of voters are still in the Toledo area.
You can't only campaign to the rural areas, because the bulk of District 9, while that may be a lot of land, the people are in Toledo and the surrounding suburbs. So you still have to appeal to those voters as well. And so it's going to be really interesting and I think really challenging because it's a new district. So no one has won from the district that looks like this one yet.
She also says a lot of what happens in November is dependent on what's happening nationally. She says currently Representative Kaptur does have an advantage as a Democrat because of the current administration's approval rating, but that of course is subject to change. Reporting in South Toledo, Megan Hartnett, WTOL 11.
Well, voters are also weighing in on major statewide races, including the governor's race. Republican Vivek Ramaswamy is going up against Casey Putsch. Heather Hill is disqualified because her running mate dropped out of the race. Hill's ticket is still on the ballot, but any votes for her will not count. Dr. Amy Acton is running unopposed for the Democratic nomination, while Don Kissick is running as a Libertarian.
As voters head to the polls across the Buckeye State to cast their ballots in today's primary, Jack Crum had a chance to speak with voters in Wood County about what brought them out today.
Wood County has a total of 27 primary polling locations, and at Perrysburg Junior High, Tuesday morning saw a steady flow as voters continue to head to the polls. Voters like Diana and Jeff Stevens.
Well, I think it's important to do your civic duty and vote. I think that's an important thing. And we did meet one of the candidates and got a little bit involved, not too much, but that's always helpful to have a face with a name. And
for them, it's hard to make a difference if you don't put your input in.
So,
correct. I agree with her totally. We invested a little bit in one person's campaign, and that brought us out.
Poll workers say it was a solid turnout for the primary, which traditionally has seen low participation.
Don't know how lucky we are in this country to vote and have a right to speak what you feel. So this is an honor. It's a privilege, really.
Daniel Reiner and Cindy Silvis say the gubernatorial race is something they'll keep an eye on.
We know that there'll be a change in the governor's race. So I believe that would maybe be the one in particular that I felt I had to vote for.
And for the Stevens, they say the Wood County ballot didn't take too long to fill out.
there weren't any at all. So it was a little bit different, I guess. And some of them, there was only one candidate, so it wasn't too difficult.
Another reminder, polls close at 7:30 p.m. Tuesday night, so if you want to make your voice heard or just pick up a cool sticker, get your votes in. Reporting in Wood County, I'm Jack Crum, WTOL 11.
Right on, Jack. There's nothing better than that cool sticker. We are bringing you wall-to-wall election coverage all night long. It's your digital I voted sticker tonight, starting at 7 o'clock on WTOL 11+. Our Melissa Andrews joins our sister station in Columbus, WBNS, to bring you in-depth coverage of the state's biggest races as your vote gets counted.
Plus, we'll have live reports from Toledo and Cleveland, Columbus and Cleveland as well. Ohio votes, watch tonight, 7 to 11, streaming on WTOL 11+.